Hello and welcome to the closing beat, everybody. Happy Monday to you. How's it going out there? How you doing? Everybody good? We are financial advisors here at Jazz Wealth. Thank you for joining us here today. While other advisors are playing checkers, we are playing chess, in particular with Roth conversions. Don't you kind of feel like the next couple weeks you should be looking at those numbers, figuring out what you need to get done? Yes, the answer is yes. This is your chance, right? You want to show the IRS the least amount of money that you can when you do that conversion, if you're going to do that conversion. So be sure to work with your advisor or whoever's helping you figure that out. Now's the time. We have a Guess the Dow winner, I believe.
We do. Yeah, we got Slawomir. Slawomir is your winner from last week. Congratulations to him. He won $100. He is a client, so he will be taking the account credit. And I believe he will be crediting the Roth IRA.
Smart. And he was like wiggling around there, right? Around first for a while.
Yeah. I think there was actually a pretty big leaderboard change on Friday. So
that's true. Yeah, actually, let's go over here and look at this. If you look at let's do the Dow. If you look at the Dow, there at one point he's like, "Oh man, I don't know. Oh, I missed it," and then it came all the way back by Friday to get him. So over here, so a pretty volatile week actually, and I expect a lot more of that to continue. Sadly, we've got some issues with Israel and everything there. This is not a political show, so there's no need to talk about that. But how does it relate to money? What do we need to worry about here? Is there anything going on? We talked about it in our notes from Jazz in particular. Is it a buying opportunity or a panic opportunity? Just call it a night, take your money and run. What do you do with that there? So be sure to check that out if you're one of our clients there. At the end of the day, the issues that are going on between Israel and Hamas and maybe Iran, they don't have an earnings impact on the S&P. And it's tough to say that. But so there's no change, and I think the market responded correctly today, at least initially, and then by the close. There's no change on the S&P's earnings, which drive future growth, right? So no concern there. Having potentially the Iranians assist with the I don't want to call it a conflict, but it's a full-on war at this point, that has a market focus, because you can imagine how that escalates, right? And in particular, oil, right? So you might have imagined oil had a great day today. Quick recovery. It was already oversold to begin with there, but oil obviously has an impact there because the Iranians are helping out, and this gets to be pretty nasty. Well, what do they have over there? They have oil, and a big contributor as well. So prices of oil. I might also point out natural gas, just a couple things going around there. Israel asked Chevron and a couple smaller others, to stop production in their fields, just shut it all down for safety reasons and everything, probably rightfully so. So you notice the spike in natural gas there as well. You know, putting that aside, we talked about it in the letter. I was kind of talking about, oh God, this is a busy weekend. I happen to have a pretty strong background with a lot of the people in Israel, just from my previous life, job, whatever you want to call it there. So got a lot of feedback as to what was going on there, aside from the news that you see. And I don't think this is going away anytime soon. I don't mean to make light of it, but that's a terrible thing going on there. Meanwhile, the markets most of the markets are open, right? The bond market's not open today. It's Columbus Day, right? Isn't that ironic? Do we go there? I don't go there. No, it's too soon. Okay. Bond market's closed. Stock market's open. Most of the world stock markets are open. The Chinese are back from their holiday as well. So pretty active in terms of volume. A lot going on, a lot that you could look at there. We have earnings season starting this week, Friday, with Citigroup, Wells Fargo, JP Morgan. They'll do their thing. There are others as well. Expect to see about a 2% earnings growth. That's kind of what I'm looking at there. I watch margins. That's kind of my thing. I like to see margins of the overall S&P. I think you'll see that around 11%. And that's probably about as low as it'll go for now. Remember, rates being higher, potentially for longer, that eats into profit margins for the S&P, and it is already eating into it. This will be like the fourth or fifth quarter in a row that margins decline. I do think you'll see them decline maybe 0.5% or so there. There are others that are going to report earnings as well before earnings season sort of unofficially begins there. Pepsi, which was in the news there over the weekend, Barron says that there's a lot of positive here. This earnings report is going to actually help spark a spike in the stock, expecting to see about 10% year-over-year growth. Well, actually, it's on the screen here. Over here. So here's the year-over-year growth expectations. You got Pepsi reporting tomorrow, and then you're going to have Domino's. Walgreens going to be an interesting one, right? What's going on with Walgreens? Those pharmacists had enough. They're going to just walk out and do their thing. Delta, expect to see some clarity on, well, flights to Israel, right? They fly out there. Fastenal, another one from an industrial standpoint, kind of cool to look at. And then the banks really kick in on Friday. And that's why we say earnings season really begins on Friday. The banks tend to start the reporting there. And then between now and the end of the first week in November, you will have 80% of the S&P reporting. Actually, I think it's the start of the second week, right? So you'll have that going on there. As far as the S&P, we lost about 1% last week. Friday's rally, if you look at Friday's rally, actually, nope, all right, that helped the tech sector there gain about 1.5% on the week back to the 50-day moving average. That was the best sector for the week last week, if you're curious there. Sector-wise, what happened today? You can imagine if you were participating in energy that had a really good day. It was the best area out there. You notice industrials. A lot of people look. I got 2 emails on that today. What's going on over here? Industrials. That's the defense stock, right? So your biggest performers here, to look at them. Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin. Everybody's like, oh, here we go. There's a war. We're doing this thing. Careful. Just careful there. That's going to be obviously what they teach you in school. That's headline risk and geopolitical risk, right? One little headline left or right could cause a lot of volatility in that stock. But those are your best performers today in terms of the sectors overall. If we look around, you got the NASDAQ trying to get back above the 50-day moving average. Gold finally doing something for you. Gold's been quite an underperformer there. So has the Russell. You have working on what they call the death cross. Right. And actually, I think it's already there. Let's do this. Nope. Here's the index, right? So the death cross becoming something there. A lot of people start posting stats. We'll probably do the same just to keep you updated. But that's one of those technical patterns people look at. Bonds not very active because they're closed. And crude oil, we already talked about that as well. The VIX started higher, finished lower. You can imagine why that is the case. And kind of interesting. Now, as far as bonds go, this I kind of put this in the letter over the weekend there. We're all taught, hey, you want a safe place to put your money? Bonds, right? You teach your kids, go to the bank and get your, do they do that anymore? You go to the bank, you get your bond, your kid holds a piece of paper. I had that when I was a kid. They say, well, don't worry. If you don't want the volatility of the stock market, go find yourself some bonds. Go put your money in that safe place. It's guaranteed, backed by the full faith and credit of the United States government there. There's a little problem here. Here is a very, very simple chart showing the S&P. We are looking at bonds as an aggregate. We are looking at gold. And we are looking at the, where did it go? There's something else on there as well. The TLT as referenced by, or referencing bond in general there to look at the basket that's beyond the 20-year mark. Anyways, I put that in black so you could see here. It's down 50% from its highs. I don't know if you can tell, but all the way over here, this goes back to the early 90s. In fact, it even touches into the 80s. However, the TLT wasn't around that long, so we don't have that data. Yeah, we're down more than the financial, or almost down more than the financial crisis. We are down more than the dot-com bust. So is this an opportunity? Or were we all taught wrong about the safety and security of bonds, right? That is volatility. There's a definition of volatility right there. 50% off of its highs from a price standpoint. Incredible, right? Here's the aggregate bond index down 21%. The S&P now down less than 9%, but that's where it stands there. And then gold down about 11%. Same thing. It's shaved about 1% or 2% off today. So just want to point that out. You know what I mean? There's a little volatility there. I almost feel like we should have a T-shirt. It says, if you bought bonds, you know, it's like when you ride a roller coaster, it's like, I survived, you know, whatever. I almost feel like that's a thing for that. But nonetheless, will it bounce? Do we have a reason for it to bounce? Rates are staying high. Why would we have any kind of a bounce there? So really difficult area to be. And that's what's going on there. Oh, I'd like to point out, this sounds scary. It's not scary. Current consumer credit now factoring in student loans. And get over here. So student loans are being factored into that. 24% of all disposable income is credit related, meaning debt. So think of your life. your budget on a monthly basis is about 24% of your spending done on debt, paying off debt, interest on debt, things like that. The highest was actually 25% just back in November of 2022. The key there is this number is falling. So it sounds like a scary number, right? But the number's actually going down. It's good for the economy. It's bad for interest rates there because student loan forgiveness is eating into some of what we would have spent to pay on our debt. Also, higher wage growth. We've all went on strike. We all asked for more money. We all got more money. You know, let's see what's going on out there. You got Walgreens doing it, the actors, and now Volvo's getting into the mix there with some of the UAW nonsense. So wage growth. And so that number's going down. We see that on TV. It's going down. It's not going up. Yes, it's a large number, but it's going down. That's a good thing. Microsoft in the news here. They're going to make their own AI chips. I did not get to follow up on this, but if you're a Microsoft fan and you want to support that, you might want to read into what's going on there. Disney, Nelson Peltz, if you're not familiar with that guy, he has had enough of Disney, wants more board seats, wants to participate. He thinks he can help here, and he's got the team to do it. So that's been the somewhat good news for Disney over the past couple of days. I will be there on Friday. If anyone wants to stop by and say hi. I have to. It's not, I don't want to go. I have to go. I got to be there anyways. I don't want to sit around and wait. So I was like, I just go to Disney and, see what.
You have to go.
I have to go. I have to be there. I got to go over there and then I got to sit and wait. I'm not going to sit and just wait for nothing.
Of course.
Sitting in the park's right over there.
Naturally.
And what a better way to kill some time.
Oh, of course. Yeah, no, that's a great idea. No,
it's really research because I want to know how the new Genie Plus thing works.
Oh, okay.
So it's not really, it's like I'm doing research for.
Yeah, this sounds super inconvenient. I'm sorry to hear about this.
Well, I'm not excited about it. Just kidding. I'm super pumped. Anyways, what else do we have? I already talked about Pepsi. Oh, you might have noticed your airline stocks. They were already oversold. So United Airlines, hey, got this war thing going on, right? They're talking about the disruption to flights. I don't know that it's by that much, to be honest there. They don't have that many flights that go there. Delta, same thing, and American Airlines, if you happen to be looking today, a lot of that. It did reset. There is such a thing as responding to the news and then other smarter people going, well, you overreacted, right? It's like I'm talking to my wife. So you have the gap down, it sells off, people think this is the end of the world, and at some point somebody comes along and says, well, wait a minute, they fly other places too. So their revenue is only partially disrupted. Now it's really sad because a lot of the revenue was coming from people traveling long distances, meaning internationally, but still, overreaction, and you see it right there. You can tell. I'll bet you, look, you can even we'll do this tomorrow. Delta, decent rally there. Okay, let's see. United Airlines had the smallest of rallies. American Airlines had the biggest of rallies. Who do you think is, just looking at the chart there, who do you think will have a greater revenue impact because of what's going on in Israel? United Airlines, right? You don't even have to look it up. We'll look it up and I'll show you just to sort of prove it. I don't know that to be the answer, but which one recovered the most? Which one had the biggest overreaction? And all the smart people out there, right, said, "You what? We'll buy that. You're selling? We'll buy that." So that's what's going on there. Sometimes you can see that right in the price of the stock. Okay, big news for tomorrow will be Pepsi. That is the focus there. You've got Fed members speaking. I believe there are, I'm just going to count them for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And one guy is speaking 2 times. Let's count that. 6 speeches by the Fed tomorrow, so expect that to be in the headlines among the obvious. All right, I'll take your questions if you have any, and then we'll get on out of here and get all set up for tomorrow. Ooh, somebody caught the wife thing there. Ooh. I hope my wife didn't catch that. I love it. Landon says, my portfolio is almost 100% recovered from the past couple of red months. That's impressive. It's impressive there, especially after today. Gives you a real clue as to what Landon is actually investing in. UAW nonsense. No, I mean the strike. I mean, it's nonsense because nobody wants to go through that, but like the strike. So Volvo is now involved in that as well. Volvo is, you can look up the ticker symbol though. It's a weird ticker symbol. Let me see if I can find it real quick for you. The actual AD is Wolf. And yeah, there you go. If you want to look up the actual ADR, sorry, you can't see. It's VLVLY. So that's their thing there. Yeah. But otherwise, yeah, it's nonsense. They'll work it out, though. Actually, from what the UAW president's saying, things are going well. They got concessions from GM, including the battery plants in the union. So I don't remember that being a big part of it. I was focused on the pay there. I don't know if they've quite done that yet, but we will see. Yeah. Tom says, are we bouncing the rest of the fourth quarter now? You're going to retest recent lows. Volatility. There's just no way. No way. I mean, I sort of guess, I hope I'm wrong, but no way we just go whoop and take off from here. I think you have volatility. You have a lot of response. Look, as they say in schools, right? Geopolitical risk, headline risk, and what else? Interest rate risk, because we have the Fed meeting, as well as earnings risk, right? Earnings season starts. So too much now going on, whereas last week all we had was, well, are interest rates going to go up or down from here? I don't know. We'll figure it out, right? We've already priced in that they're going to go up again, so it's kind of a non-event if it happened. And then earnings season, okay, that's fine. And then the weekend hits and you're like, ooh, okay. It's crazy. That is crazy. Well, that's what I have for you here today. We'll be back tomorrow to do this all over again, and I will see you then. So enjoy the rest of your evening, and thanks for watching.